My next story begins with someone else's ending, someone that I did not know. A helicopter crashed into Lake Lanier, killing the pilot when I was in the 8th grade. And this story would not affect me at all. It would not matter to me at all, except for the fact that my parents, my mother and my stepfather, went sunbathing at the lake every single day of that year. Like, to the point where they look like well-worn, well-polished leather bags. They witnessed this helicopter crash. They were one of the only witnesses of this helicopter crash. And as a result of that, my parents were on the news, interviewed for it. And I'm fairly certain that I became a journalist because of this, because I realized that it was possible for two people to look at the exact same event and come up with wildly different perspectives on it. You know, you're in the 8th grade and you're shocked for a second, like, oh no, someone has died. This is horrible. And then you're overcome more so with like, oh my God, my parents are going to be on the news. They interviewed my mother first. She was on one channel. She is, to give you a bit of background, she is from Ohio, an education major from Bowling Green State University. Very prim, very proper, trained in performance. Her interview went something like this. It was so awful. We were just sitting there, and then all of a sudden, it just came down in front of us. My God. Now, my stepfather was different. He was on 3 channels. He was from Buford, Georgia, made it all the way through the 8th grade before he got kicked out of school for being ornery. He had a different take on it. This, to the best of my ability, was my stepfather on the news. Now, it just sort of started, it's flying kind of low, and I looked over and I was like, Ann, that thing's flying kind of low, isn't it? Then it just starts to like turn right over us, and I looked over and I was like, Ann, I think that thing's going out over the water. Then, all of a sudden, I noticed it. I looked over, and there was like turning, it was making a noise. You just heard this grinding, and I looked over, I said, Ann, is smoke coming from out of that thing? Then the smoke just sort of like just billowed out, and then all of a sudden you just heard this noise, like this, like then you just heard the grinding, and the motor is like turned like it was like about to flip over. And then it just starts to like grind like rare. Then it just hover out over the water, and I'm like, Ann, I think that thing's gonna crash. Then it just goes out there over the water, and it just crash in the water. Then all of a sudden the water was just calm, and there wasn't nothing. Thank you.